Today, I'm joined by Alex, PONANT's Business Development Executive for New South Wales and ACT, to answer some questions we know you've all been dying to have answered, and we thought we'd bring it to you straight from the source. So thank you, Alex, for joining us.
Thanks for having me. It's a real pleasure to be able to speak to you today. We're also excited about the future of PONANT, so it's a real pleasure to share it with you.
Well, thank you. Glad we got to tee this up. It's real exclusive, I think, for a lot of our clients. So, yeah, let's get straight into it. So, PONANT is obviously one of the first to release official health and safety protocols and measures. Talk us through the 3 Shield protocol.
So PONANT's COVID safe protocol is, in my opinion, by far the most comprehensive and well thought out protocols that I have seen. It is built on a 3 Shield concept to ensure the sanitary bubble on board is always COVID free. So the first shield is prior to boarding. 30 days prior to embarkation, all guests are required to submit a health questionnaire completed by their personal GP. Then they're required to complete a self-check 2 days prior to embarkation with a portable test kit provided by PONANT. Upon check-in, there'll be a final health check and screening completed by the onboard medical team prior to embarkation. This will also include, of course, a temperature check. Guests' personal belongings will be sent to a disinfection zone for treatment prior to loading on board, as are all goods and merchandise received for the vessel will go through that disinfection zone as well. So that's shield number 1. Shield number 2 contains the procedures once you're through the first shield and you're on board the ship. Each person on board is required to comply with the mandatory health protocols in place. So kits will be provided to all guests, which include surgical face masks, disinfectant wipes, sprays, and hydroalcoholic gel. Guests will be required to wear a face mask when walking through the corridors, and are also encouraged to wear it throughout the ship as they see fit. All crew members will wear a face mask, and when they are in contact with guests, they'll have a protective visor. We will, of course, adhere to the 1.5 metre social distancing guideline on board and implement a strict cleaning protocol for all public areas and staterooms. We'll also have the ability to conduct PCR tests on board in our medical facilities. So that's shield number 2, once guests are on board the ship.
Yep.
You can see it's quite comprehensive.
But look, I think in this environment, you're going to have to be, and I think that's what's going to, ease a lot of people's minds when they do get back on board to know, you've done your research, and everything that's been put in place is for a reason, to keep everyone safe on board. So, of
course.
Look, it has to be. So,
I know. And that goes into our 3rd shield, which is the continuous monitoring of the onboard protocols. And that's by our medical team, including our headquarters medical team and the onboard team that is made up of a doctor and a nurse. Random samples will be collected from public areas multiple times per day, and there will be daily medical supervision by our onboard team, all thanks to our next generation hospitals we have on board.
Cool, very good. Now, another question on, that's come up with the team, I guess, from clients is, have you reduced capacity allowed on board, and, what percentage?
Yeah, of course, that's a good question. We haven't actually needed to, and that's thanks to a combination of 2 things. So firstly, the size of our ships. Our Explorer class ships hold a maximum of 184 guests, and our sister ships hold a maximum of 264 guests. Now, on top of this, there are lots of public areas around the ships, which allow guests to spread out, and it kind of brings a sense of being on your own private yacht. Second to that, we also cater for a large solo traveller demographic. Mm-hmm. So when PONANT releases our itineraries, we release it with either a 0 solo supplement or a really little solo supplement. As we know, solo travellers often travel by themselves for a number of reasons. So that attracts a large number of solo guests on board. So we never sail at full capacity, which is a bonus. We've also split our dining sessions into 2 separate seatings. Our public areas like the fitness room and theatre will be reduced capacity by 50%. And then when we operate our Zodiacs, that will be capped at 6 people to adhere to social distancing guidelines.
Cool. Well, look, that's a bonus that you don't have to, cut down your capacity as well.
Yeah.
But I think that's one of PONANT's, I guess, signature differences as well. You are a much smaller ship, and that real sort of small, intimate yacht style is awesome. So, air circulation and filtration while you're on board. Talk us through that.
Yeah, for sure. So there will be 100% fresh air in staterooms through non-recirculating air conditioning. Plus, on our Explorers, 100% of cabins have their own private balcony. And on our sister ships, 95% have their own private balcony. So there will always be fresh air coming into the cabins. In all common areas, the air will also be renewed 5 times per hour.
Wow.
Not per hour, which is really good. So there will be lots of fresh air coming through the ships constantly. We also do have a very thorough sanitary management system of air circulation, which is detailed in our protocols, and that includes continuous monitoring of ventilation units and air filters.
Lovely. So the question on everyone's lips at the moment, what's happening to the buffet?
Sadly, there will be no buffets on board, although it is a small sacrifice to make. All meals on board will be served in an a la carte style service, but I definitely wouldn't worry because there's still going to be lots of French teas and pastries for everyone to eat all throughout the day.
When personally do you think you'll be cruising again, and where?
So I definitely think there's a silver lining to what's going on with COVID and the global situation at the moment, and that's that we get to discover, or for some people rediscover, our own backyard. I personally started my professional career dancing on board ships, so cruising is in my blood.
Yeah.
And I know as soon as we're allowed to get back on board, I will be one of them.
Yeah.
I think it is time for me to tick off, though, the Kimberley from my bucket list. It is home to the oldest continuous culture on Earth, the only 2 horizontal falls on the planet, the world's largest inshore reef system, and the largest population of migrating humpback whales. And, you know, to think that that's in our backyard and only a couple hours away is really spectacular. Normally we've been sold out every season, so we've had to actually increase our ships to 2 there next year, just so there's enough sailings.
Exciting. So, plenty of room for us then.
Yeah. I'll meet you there with a cocktail in hand.
Perfect.
So yeah, next year I'll definitely be jumping up to the Kimberley for sure.
Very nice. That's exciting. Oh, yeah. I'm so excited to get back on board again. So look, hopefully it's not too far away for us. What's something that makes PONANT really special in comparison to other cruise lines?
This question, there are way too many things for me to narrow it down to one. So I do have a couple points for you.
Okay, that's all right.
PONANT was founded back in 1988 by a group of French merchant navy sailors. So there has always been that spirit of adventure right from the birth of the company. Our president and CEO, Jean-Emmanuel Sauvé, was one of the founders, and so were some of our captains. So there is a real sense of pride, passion, and of course a love for the sea from the top of the company all the way down to the crew on board. This has led to us being titled as a world leader of luxury expeditions, which is a title we are so proud of. And we've been taking guests to polar regions for over 20 years and now lead expeditions to all 7 continents. We definitely wouldn't have gained it though without our team of expedition guides and naturalists on board. So they've all spent years, and when I mean years, like decades, perfecting their fields, whether they're a marine biologist, a zoologist, a geologist, a historian, you name it. They really make each voyage so special and enrich our guest experience and appreciation for the places they're visiting, which definitely makes people ambassadors of the planet and the places they're going to. Mm-hmm. And secondly, being the only French cruise line in the world, PONANT is an ambassador of the French touch, with French crew, all bilingual, speaking French and English, refined cuisine inspired by French gastronomy, and
champagne,
Veuve Clicquot champagne, French macaroons, Hermes, you name it.
Amazing.
There's the partnerships on board just make it feel like you are sailing on your own private French yacht, which is really amazing. Coming back from the ice floe in Antarctica with a glass of champagne or a hot chocolate, or it really makes it a special experience.
Oh no, oh gosh, all this dreaming, I'm like, come on, I'm getting itchy, come on.
It's sad to think I was on board in March. That feels like 3 years ago.
I know, it's crazy. What's your top pick domestic itinerary for Aussie travellers at the moment?
Definitely at the moment, my top pick would be our Highlights of Southern Australia itinerary, which is departing at the end of March next year. So this is a 13-day itinerary from Melbourne to Fremantle, which will have guests trying local produce and beautiful wines of the Tamar Valley in Tasmania, discovering the limestone coast of South Australia, eating fresh seafood in Port Lincoln, and visiting the remarkable National Anzac Centre and Whaling Museum in Albany. So you're covering the whole south of Australia, and you know, it's in expedition style, which not many of us get to do in this part of the world.
Definitely. Good. Well, look, the PONANT protocol booklet is extremely extensive. We'll have this up on our website for everyone, all of our clients and obviously non-clients to be able to view it. So we're really excited to be able to share that. So this should answer, I guess, questions, any further questions that anyone has. But by all means, you know, if you guys out there have any further questions, feel free to ask our consultants, or, you know, put your comments below, and, you know, and I can get in touch with Alex and be able to get those answered for you. So look, Alex, thank you so much for joining us. It's nice to be able to see you again. It's been a little while since we and hopefully next time it's a little more face to face rather than over.
I'll bring in the champagne.
Oh, that's what we like to hear. So thank you again, Alex, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.